Erin Cicero. I'm the president of the Unionville Tavern Preservation Society. Well, this would have been one of the two original log cabins that were here. One was built in 1798 and the other a few years later. It's rumored that it was, or said to be, one of the first establishments in this area, part of the Western Reserve.
My name is Marc Petersen. I'm the vice president of the Unionville Tavern Preservation Society. We started it 3 years ago. Erin and I did, just really out of just emailing back and forth like at work. I was always a huge fan of local history. I remember coming here as a kid. My great-grandparents had their 65th anniversary. My grandparents had their 50th anniversary. I had friends that worked here in high school. People would still come to eat, and they're just like, oh, it's closed. Like, they really just kind of shut the doors and walked away.
My name is Brian Horgan. I'm one of the founding members of the Unionville Tavern Preservation Society and serve currently as Vice President of Operations. The room we're in right now is called the Cabin Room, and this apparently was the sister cabin. Two cabins were built side by side with kind of a walkway in between. And so this room kind of goes back to the origins of the original tavern. Basically got involved with this project now about 4 years ago. Under the guise of the National Trust for Historic Preservation's This Place Matters program. Marc and Erin formed that program where they basically formed a grassroots effort to garner support within the community to raise awareness and raise funding potentially for some grant money.
For the most part, the community has been very supportive.
Because of that support, we decided to form the Unionville Tavern Preservation Society to continue that effort, raise awareness.
We entered it into a contest in 2011 and really just went from there.
They were able to basically finish 9th in the country for that project.
We've come a long way.
That time where we are now would have been the carriage. You could drive the carriage through here. It was the post office, one of the first post office. There's a funny story about the guy that used to carry the mail. He used to carry it in like a tall beaver skin cap, and all the mail was in his hat, and that's how he would walk between the towns and everything. The previous owner purchased it at auction in 2003, and they came in and they did some minor changes to it, and then ran it until about 2006 when they closed the doors, and it was like they just left one night and then decided not to come back the next day. There were tables that were still set if you looked in the window, and it sat and nothing really was done to it.
Lafayette was supposed to pass through, which is, the story was that's why the pillars were added, to this, and also I think to Riders Inn in Painesville.
A lot of taverns were trying to sway the general to visit on his frontier tour, and that's one of the reasons why the pillars were put out front to kind of create a facsimile of Mount Vernon.
That Henry Ford has stayed here, Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin was supposed to be based on stories, from this building.
So basically for the last 8 months or so, we've been working to stabilize the building. We have some exterior, a little bit of interior stabilization underway, and we are now engaged with the Heritage Architectural Associates who specialize in historic preservation architecture. The origins of the tavern date back to 1798, when the original structure was a log cabin that was built on the Ridge Road here. Due to the increasing volume of travel and business on the Ridge Road, had more lodging, more diners and such.
We have a long road ahead of us with putting it back together, but we're just hoping, or it will be, a viable piece to the community again. It needs to be. It's one of the oldest structures here, in the Western Reserve. It can't be lost.